Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's our Monday night roundtable. It's episode 76. I say roundtable, more like a straight line tonight, but there you go. We've got Downsy on in a little bit, so it'll at least be like a triangle. So best we can do tonight, best we can do. We've got loads to talk about on the show, though. Very, very big weekend. None so bigger than what happened for the Bantams, top of the league, top of League One. Dreaming for back-to-back promotions. So we're going to talk all about the Bantams a little bit later on, and a very happy Gaz, I can imagine. We have got Stephen Downs, our resident Huddersfield Town Terrier, on a little bit later as well. He's going to be joining us, talking about their disappointing draw to bottom of the league Burton at the weekend and what that means. And we're also going to be talking Leeds United. We're going to kick things off there as well. But if you're watching along live, please do get your comments in, like the video. And if you could do us a favour as well, if you're enjoying our content, if you're enjoying the Monday night show and all our other little videos, please do get them shared with your mates, get them commented on, get them liked, and get subscribing to the channel as well. We're on all different socials as well, so check out our Twitter feed, check out our TikTok page as well. So we've got loads of content from the guys on the TikTok feed as well, some entertaining stuff on there. So if you've got a chance, if you're registered for TikTok, make sure you give the West Yorkshire Football Show a follow on from there. Gaz, good evening, mate. How are we doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. Thank you very much. I think I put a little screenshot in the group chat the other day that being a two-team wanker can be quite good sometimes when both sitting top of the league. Yeah, Liverpool top, City top. Don't get much better than that. It's early days, obviously, but you know, when you take it, don't you? Top of the league at any time.
Stop the count right there. Blimey, yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to kick off with Premier League chat. Leeds United coming back from 1-0 down against Wolves to win 3-1. Myself and Jay, we did a full post-match reaction to that game. Check that out on the channel if you want to get a full breakdown of that game. But vital win for us, Gaz, absolutely vital win. Wolves, terrible start to the season. Lost 4 on the trot going into that game. They've given their manager, Vitor Pereira, a new contract just a couple of days before. Strand Larsen, he's got a new contract as well. So I thought going into that game, would they have that buoyancy? Would they, would that be the boost that they needed for the game against Leeds? But to be honest, I mean, straight from the kickoff, Leeds were on top and unfortunate to go behind. But then when they did, they've turned it around, obviously. But a real vital 3 points for Leeds there, Gaz.
Yeah, absolutely massive for you, wasn't it, Brownie? Especially against a team that, like you say, look like they could be somebody that's going to be down there with you. I was at a family do yesterday with some Leeds fans, and we were talking about how, obviously we've talked about it a lot on the pod, Brownie, about how the teams that have been promoted the last couple of years have gone straight back down. But the way that this season's shaping up, I thought Brentford had struggled at the start of the season. I mean, and they've actually started better than your likes of Wolves and West Ham. So how big a win is that, Brownie, just against a team that you think, they could be down there, and you're not at home, you're going, we know Leeds are going to be, or you'd hope they'd be strong at home, but to go away and put in a performance like that and take 3 points against a rival, just how big could that be for set you up going into the rest of the start of the season?
Oh, I mean, massive, absolutely massive. I mean, if we rewind 7 days before, we had Fulham away, and we didn't deserve to lose that, Gaz. We should have got at least a point from that match. We were really, really unlucky in that game to actually lose. And at that point, I mean, me and Jay discussed it midweek. We were saying we didn't think it was a must-win for Leeds. Obviously, it's only the 5th game of the season, but we almost felt like it was a must-win for Farke. If we'd have lost that game, if we'd have even drawn that game, because Wolves are so poor, a point would have been okay, a point would have been fine, but to get the 3 points, it just feels absolutely massive, because you bang on, Gaz. I mean, away from home, in this league, as a newly promoted team, if you can get anything, it's a bonus. We look strong at home. To be fair, we've looked strong in every game apart from the Arsenal game, and I still believe if Ethan Ampadu's fit for that game, it's I don't think we'd have won it or anything. We probably wouldn't even got a point, but it'd be more competitive than 5-0. I'm certain of it. So it's absolutely huge, and like you say about the promoted teams as well, doing so well. I mean, they've already far exceeded last year's promoted teams, and the whole narrative, I think, coming into, and this is where I think, the narrative around football sometimes can be a bit lazy. It's like, oh, this happened before, so yeah, it'll probably just happen again. And, I think all the promoter teams this season will have looked at the previous 2 Premier League campaigns and gone, okay, how can we be different? How can we make sure this isn't going to be us? Or if we do go down, how can we at least make it a fight? And I think all 3 promoter clubs are doing a really good job of that. Sunderland, obviously, they're the outliers. They're sat in 6th or 7th. They've got 8 points. They're doing absolutely fantastically well. Leeds, we're looking really solid. We're picking up points. And, Burnley have had a really tough start themselves, and they're competitive. They're really competitive. They got a good point at the weekend again. And, you throw in Wolves, who look an absolute basket case. You throw in West Ham, same for them. I think Potter's on his last legs there. Aston Villa. I mean, it's crazy what's happening there. I mean, I thought, a couple of games, Villa, they didn't look right. And you're thinking, Unai Emery, the consistency they've got, has been there 3 years. Surely it's just a matter of time when it kicks in. But got to admit, I'm a little worried for Villa. I don't know if it's going to be that easy. I've watched a bit of their fan content this week, and I don't know. It's just not happening at Villa. So it was massive. It was massive that we can give ourselves that best opportunity, really.
Yeah, a good friend of mine's a Villa fan, and he's sent me little bits of content from their sort of YouTubers and stuff, and they're really struggling at the moment, aren't they? They don't see it. They just said they're not playing well. There's players who they expect a lot more of. I know that they're on Morgan Rogers' back at the moment, saying he's not putting a shift in. He's giving the ball away. And he's also mentioned, my mate, how PSG sort of warned him a little bit about this with Unai Emery, that he'd do well for the first couple of years and then it might tail off. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. I think they'll stick with him, and I think they will turn it around. Whether they'll turn it around to the extent that they can shoot right up the table, but I do see them moving at least sort of up to mid-table at some point. I think they've too much quality in that squad not to. I think you're right to mention to Burnley and West Ham. I mean, the fact that Leeds fought back from going a goal down, that's a massive thing, isn't it, as well? It shows the scrapping there and the scrapping for the manager as well, whereas you look at West Ham, and the players just don't look like they're playing for Potter at all. I think the only thing that's going to save West Ham there is a change of manager. I think I can see them going down the route of maybe a Nuno Espirito Santo. I can see them looking at somebody like him to replace Potter, because that doesn't look like getting any better. But like I said, from a Leeds perspective, Brownie, to bounce back from going a goal down, that's a big thing as well, isn't it? That's psychological for the team too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was so important to score some goals. We'd scored 1 goal in the league in the previous 4 games. That was a penalty. So that was obviously dominating the story around Leeds. It was a case of, and we've done it ourselves. We've done videos saying, who's going to score? Where are the goals coming from? And, they answered that pretty emphatically. You're talking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin's first goal for the club, and that's just what he's about. And he was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic on Saturday. And obviously there's a big question mark about his injury record, but it's like me and Jay have said, he just, when a player just looks like they've got the eye of the tiger, they just look as if they've got that bit between the teeth and they just want it so bad. And I just get the impression ever since DCL walked in the door that he's absolutely desperate for this to work for him. He's really hungry. His hold-up play was fantastic. He won so many clever fouls, laying the ball off with his chest. And then the goal, absolutely fantastic. He just hung in the air, directed the header. It absolutely brilliant. So he's off the mark. He's up and firing. You've got Anton Stack then bangs in an absolute worldie of a free kick. And he's someone who he's got something special about him. Now he's kind of not disappointed, but it's one of those, do you know when a player comes in and you can just tell they've got something about them, but they're making a few sloppy mistakes or they're not quite at it. But I can imagine probably in a few games, he's going to be our most important player. And he's got that bit about him. He's one of the top chance creators in the Premier League as well. And obviously getting his first goal at the weekend. So he's a special player. He is going to be a special player. And then you've got Noah Okafor, who another injury-prone player, another one with question marks over his checkered injured history, but he was fantastic again. He was so direct. He had the most dribbles of any Premier League player for 3 or 4 years or some stat. And that's all he wants to do. He wants to pick up the ball. He wants to drive at the defender. Doesn't always work. I think he had 6 out of 14 successful dribbles. You might think, oh, that's not great, but it's the hardest job to do. And it makes a huge difference when someone's trying to get you up the pitch and make something happen. And he took his goal fantastically well. I mean, left foot on his weaker foot, plays it across the keeper, bottom corner. There you go. And in the space of 15 minutes, we'd gone from scoring 1 goal all season to scoring 4. So yeah, a really good day. And I think, hopefully that takes a bit of the pressure off in terms of that building narrative about us not being able to score goals. So yeah, positive. And like you say, just to be able to come from behind, just to prove that, we can face that adversity and we've got something about us to come back. Because I made the point to Jay last time we were in the Premier League, we saw this where we'd have a really good 15, 20 minutes and we'd go behind and then just crumble. And that's the test, isn't it, really? There were so many games. I can remember them now where, we're knocking the ball about. You think, yeah, we're in this today. And then we go behind and just absolutely crumble. So it was great to see that didn't happen on Saturday. We stuck with it. We stuck with how we were playing and we got there in the end.
Yeah, it's another tick in the box, isn't it? Like you said, coming back from a goal down, sticking at it, not crumbling. It's like we talked about it with Downsy and Huddersfield, and obviously City as well. It's like when you lose your first game, can we bounce back from losing our first game? The Leeds have ticked a couple of boxes there. Coming back from a goal behind, going away and winning away. And then obviously, like you said, the goals as well. You've got 2 from open play there. I thought that Calvert-Lewin said is a great header. That's what he's all about. That's what he's done. I think if you keep him fit, it can be a real problem for other teams for you this year. And then Anson's stat, mate. I mean, what a free kick that is.
Yeah, just an absolute belter in it. And it was funny because when he got fouled, Dominic Calvert-Lewin got fouled. And I was shouting because I was like, it's closer than that. It's closer. Like they moved the ball back for the free kick. And I think when you watch it again, the Leeds players kind of knock it back a bit. And like Jay said in review at weekend, it's clever that because it just gave him a bit more space to actually get a bit of dip and curve on it. And I mean, he's hit it to the keeper's side as well. And people are going, oh, the keeper, this and that. But I'm like, the pace and velocity of that hit. I mean, I would say goal of the weekend, but Gravenberch, I'm like, I don't know if I can say it, but it's just, it'll be a contender, I tell you.
I thought you were going to say Tommy Lee. Have you seen Tommy Lee's for Bradford, Brownie?
Well, I've got a little treat for you later, Gaz.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Right, when we move on, I'll just I'll surprise you later.
I do want to say as well, just looking at the table there, you mentioned Sunderland, but Leeds level on points with Man United, level on points with Man City. It's not been a bad start when you look at it like that at all, has it? No.
It's been a cracking start, and I think something I dropped in our West Yorkshire football group today. It's who's had the hardest start in the Premier League. I think, by fixtures, and Leeds are 4th. So to walk away, I mean, look, how much do we pay attention to that kind of chart? It's always subjective a little bit, but they've crunched the numbers, and apparently Leeds have had the 4th hardest start in terms of fixtures. So it's like, well, we've done all right then. 7 points, like you say, we're there, nestled in with some big boys. So yeah, absolutely delighted with that. As Glenn says here, that free kick was an absolute thunder bastard. Absolutely, it was. And Leeds don't do that. Leeds never do that. We never score free kicks like that. I can't remember the last time we did it. More of that, please.
2 home games coming up now, Brownie. Yeah, Bournemouth, I think, haven't you, on Saturday?
Yeah.
And then is it Spurs after that, both at home? So what are your thoughts going into those 2 games?
Yeah, tough. I think that's the other thing as well. It's, we needed the 3 points against Wolves, really, when you're looking at the next couple of fixtures, because I think Bournemouth are just a class act under Iriola. I mean, they've lost players and they've regenerated. They brought other players in and they're absolutely flying. One of the best teams in the league. Spurs speaks for itself. They're rejuvenated under Thomas Frank. They look a completely different prospect. So 2 really tough games, but I'm hopeful with the Ellen Road crowd and how confident we've been at home that we can do it again. I mean, I don't think we've really been outplayed in any game. I mean, if you take Arsenal off the kind of table because it was kind of a bit of an outlier. I don't think we've not been dominated. We were better than Everton. Newcastle was very 50-50. Fulham 50-50, but I thought we were the better team. We were better against Wolves. So if we can keep up that level of competitiveness, I mean, look, it's at home. So if we can win one of them, I'm absolutely delighted. I'd take a win and a loss all day, or a couple of draws, but a win and a loss, and I'd be absolutely delighted with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth, like you say, I mean, what a job Areola's done there. You look at, like, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the regeneration, isn't it? I mean, they lose the players, and they just seem to continue where they left off. I mean, the centre halves have gone in the summer. And then they've got new ones that have come in, and what are they? Are they third or fourth in the league, something like that? And I was surprised. I mean, obviously Thomas Frank's gone to Spurs. I thought that Iraola might have been someone that Spurs would look at too. But yeah, just incredible. And then I think after that, it's the international break for you. But you've obviously got Burnley then. So in a way, that's massive. But our Leeds are the Spurs and Bournemouth games free hits in a way when you think you've got Burnley coming up after that.
Yeah, I think beating Wolves away, it means we're kind of tracking above where we need to track. Because I mean, if you're looking at a point per game, we've got 7 from 5, so we've got a couple of points spare. If you're going to look at it like that. I never like to say game's a free hit because look, it starts 0-0, doesn't it, at the start of the game? But I would like, we can play with a little less pressure. I think we can play with a little less pressure, and if we turn up like we have done at home so far, I'm confident we can get something from these games, and that's what it does. That's what wins do. It gives you that belief. But I'm delighted, absolutely delighted. I just want to draw attention to Lewis. Lewis is on holiday at the moment, and what a pro. We're going to hear from Lewis. Actually, he sent a little video in as well. He's giving us his non-league roundup as well. So that'll be on a little bit later. But he says, thanks to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Keep the guys company with your comments, and don't forget to spread the word about West Yorkshire Football Show with your likes, reposts, and subscription to our channel. Cheers. Yeah, absolutely. Spot on there. Lou, enjoy the rest of your holiday, mate. Other stuff in the Premier League, then obviously your boys, Liverpool, sat top, another win. I mean, you can't get much of a better start, can you really? Beating your local rivals as well. I mean, it's been a dream start, hasn't it, Gaz?
It has in terms of results. I mean, the performances aren't there, and you can look at that in two ways, I suppose. You can say, well, they can't keep playing badly and winning forever, but then you say, well, on the flip side of that, well, when they do start playing well, they're going to be a real problem. I think on Saturday it went similar to how other performances have gone. I mean, I think there was a mention on the commentary during the game that about how many times they've given up 2-0 leads already this season, and they nearly did it again against Everton. I thought first 20 minutes they were fantastic, and then after the second goal, I thought Everton played really, really well. I know with a couple of lads on the pod who really rate Jack Grealish, and we've talked about him a lot. I thought he was fantastic for Everton on Saturday off the left-hand side. He caused Conor Bradley some real problems. I think Everton will do all right this season. I think with David Moyes, we've talked before about how some clubs and some managers just fit and it just works. And I think that is going to be the case. I think obviously the history he's got there at Everton, the way he got on playing towards the end of last season, I can see him getting the best out of Grealish. And obviously they've got Ndiaye on the other side, who's also a real handful. I think that the problem that they've got, I know Ian mentioned it at the start of the chat regarding Wolves and where goals are going to come from. I think that could be a little problem for Everton. I don't see Beto, and I know they've signed Barry, but he's not really hit the ground running so much. But yeah, Liverpool, 5 out of 5. Arsenal and Man City both dropping points yesterday. I think that the weekend couldn't have gone any better really for them, and the hope is that once Wirtz and Isak start firing and get settled into the side, that they can go strong in all competitions. It's just
scary prospect, that, isn't it? Those two just waiting to kick on as well.
It's not something that I'm used to. Obviously, with Liverpool, they have spent money, but in the past it's always been sort of sell to buy. That's been FSG's philosophy. And I think this is the first summer really where they've gone big, regardless of what they've brought in. They have still brought in a lot of money, but the net spend is about, I think the net spend's about 150 million, which is big for Liverpool, but probably not that big when you're looking at what Man City and Arsenal go and do. I mean, you look at Arteta at Arsenal and he spends big and doesn't bring a lot in through sales at all. Yeah. Man City will bring in a lot through sales, but will go big regardless as well. And then you look at like Man United, who just throw money at it left, right, and centre, and don't seem to be able to get anything right. But we can laugh at them for once, Brownie. Me and you can enjoy what's going on there at the moment, can't we?
I know, absolutely. Just a quick word on Florian Wirtz. A few kind of murmurings that maybe not quite living up to the price tag yet. Is that anything to be concerned about at this stage, Gaz?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It is a big step up coming from the Bundesliga. We know that it's a totally different pace of game in the Premier League, and I think he will take time to settle in. But then I've seen him, obviously, in the World Cup for Germany, where he was absolutely outstanding. So I think he might take time in the new system and playing sort of, but he's going to be rotated, isn't he, who he's playing with? He's going to have Ekitike up there sometimes. He's going to have Isak up there sometimes. You'd imagine Salah's going to be there all the time. But I think you'll probably see the best of Wirtz when the team start playing well and when he's had a little bit more time to settle in. I'm not worried just yet, but he's a young player who's come with a big price fee from a league where the pace we know isn't as good. But like I say, having seen him play for Germany, I'm sure that he'll hit his stride eventually. It might just take a little bit of time.
Good stuff. Guys, if you're watching along live, if you can smash a like on the video, get your comments in as well. I'm delighted to say he has arrived. Here he is. It is Mr. Stephen Downs of Town Talk fame. Good evening, Steve. How are we doing, mate?
Not bad. How are you, lads?
Good stuff. Now, I know you'll be very disappointed that you've missed the Leeds United section on the show, so I just want to play this just to help fill that space. There you go, mate. Just so you don't feel like you've missed out on any Leeds stuff.
Sorry, broke up then. What happened? Internet just wangled off for a second there. Gaz, I don't know what happened, but anyway, up the Wolverhampton. Anyway, carry on, Brown.
We can play it again, don't we? We can play it again. Yeah, we're gonna go
flying around in the group chat this weekend. We have to say that, don't we? And Downs has been dishing it out, but also the recipient of it as well with everything that's been going on at Town. So I think it's just spill over into the Monday show tonight.
Disrespectful Downsy, that's who it is now.
Well, according to Mr. Bell, I just disrespect everybody I come into contact with. So there we are. I can take it though. I give it as well as take it, Gaz, don't I? So to be fair,
exactly. Well, let's move on to League One. Actually, now talk about your timing. I mean, I think he heard you say his name actually. And decided to show up. Here he is, Mr. Bell.
Hello, mate.
Your timing is perfect as always, mate.
It really is. He's only come up for the League One bit.
And was just waiting to be called out so that I'll get it before it happens.
Good to have you on board. Well, you're joining us just in time because we're moving on to League One matters. We are going to start with City now. I did promise Gaz I had a little treat for him, so here we go. Let's see if it's going to work, and hopefully we don't break any copyright goals. But let's remind ourselves of the opening goal for the Bantams at the weekend. Managed to see it, Gaz? Were you able to watch it at all, or were you just...
I got your clip, yeah. My stream was breaking up badly when Downsy were talking, actually, but it seems to be back now. So if I do disappear, that's why, because it was almost unwatchable a minute ago. But you're back at the moment.
See the goal?
Yeah, what a strike that is. That's Premier League quality, that.
Goal of the weekend, are we having that? Stacks. Surely Stacks.
Between that and Stack, innit? They're the two.
The one won in the Town game, so do you know what I mean? We're a bit over
this week. Well, Gaz, Bradford City, you're top of the pile, mate. How does that feel?
I've got a bit of a nosebleed, mate. It's It's not something I expected at all. I did expect us to be competitive this season. I think most people did. I know we spoke on here, obviously, with Chris and Downsy, who follow teams in League One as well. I think City aside, and I've said it, or a club, and I've said it before on this podcast, that when we get going and we have a bit of momentum, we can be hard to stop. And that is something that we have at the moment, probably because of the way last season ended. Did I expect us to be top of the league after 9 games? Absolutely not. Most City fans, I mean, again, I was talking yesterday to some family members and what is a good season for City, and I still say a good season for City is staying up. I think that's got to be the number one priority for any team that gets promoted. The first thing you want to do is make sure you don't get relegated straight afterwards. But you look at the business that we've done with the squad over the summer. We've signed some really good players, and I would be hopeful that we can at least sort of be mid-table where we are now. Probably, do I expect us to keep it up? Probably not. But that's the pessimist that I am. I don't like to get carried away. But the longer it goes on, the hopes will build towards that we can at least sustain something around the playoffs as the season goes on. We've beaten some really good sides, obviously, teams that are fancied to do well. I know that Wickham have had a bad start, but we had them on the opening day. They were expected to do well. We turned them over. We turned Luton over. We turned Town over, who were expected to do well. And then we've gone to Cardiff at the weekend, and obviously our home form has been really good. I think we've won every home game so far. The away form hasn't been great for the last year or so, and we've gone to Cardiff, who were top of the league, who were unbeaten, who had only conceded 2 goals, both from penalties all season, and we've gone there and we've won and played. From what I can gather, I didn't see the game, I didn't go. I've spoken to people that did go. I've spoken to Cardiff fans as well, and everybody said we played really, really well. So if we can keep that going, why not? Why not, Brownie? Let's see how long we can keep it going for.
Yeah. To be fair, you were the extended highlights, I think, in League One on the EFL highlight show, unsurprisingly, because of the fact it was the top 2 playing. And just from the highlights alone on the EFL highlight show, it was all one-way traffic, or it seemed to be. So, yeah, it was quite the performance and a hell of a result. Although you're not supposed to get results like that, are you? You know, little newly promoted sides that aren't supposed to do anything. You know, hey, Downsy.
Well, Gaz has gone. His 2 teams are top of the league, so he's buzzed off. Yeah. In terms of, I mean, Bradford City, I mean, Chris, we'll go on to you. I mean, you know, as Gaz has mentioned there, I mean, recruitment, it does just come down to recruitment time and time again. And City they've smashed it, haven't they, so far from what we've seen?
We said it in the summer, didn't we, that, you know, whilst it's not a case of bringing in mega stars for League One levels, like, you know, the likes of Birmingham and Wrexham and Huddersfield have done at times. Just like winding him up about Joe Taylor. It's really solid recruitment. Like, Bradford would have spent next to bugger all in the grand scheme of things on transfer fees themselves. And they've just signed solid League One players that have been there, that have done it, that know the level, that have the experience. And you look at what Alexander did to get out of League Two, you know, the summer before last, that was exactly what Alexander did to get that Bradford squad out of League Two, was he signed solid players that have been there and done it at League Two level. And he's just done the exact same in League One. And it's absolutely paying off for them. I mean, look, I know Gazzy's always the one that's going to be the realist. So, you know, I'll be the one that will get carried away on Gazzy's behalf. But I think we can safely say at this stage, and I know we're only, not 10 games in, but I don't think you're going down, Gaz. I think you'll be okay.
Fingers crossed, Chris. Sorry about that, lads. My internet went kaput again, and it just was, kicked me out, basically. But yeah, I see what Chris is saying there. We have made he's made a good point about Alexander. I just caught the end of that, Chris. What he did last year was he brought in experienced players who know the league, who've had success in the league, and it worked. And you can see that he's tried to do that again in League One with, you know, the likes of Max Power coming in, who's been there and done it at Sunderland and Wigan. Max Power's been brilliant, by the way. What I will say is, and me and Chris have talked about this in the group chat, and City have the lowest possession, I think, or the second lowest possession in the league. And what we're doing is we're letting other teams have the ball. Downsy saw it when they came with Town. We let Town have the ball. Town obviously wanted the ball. They want to dominate play. They want to play football, and we just let them have it and then press them to death and hit them on the break. Our toughest game so far has arguably been against Wimbledon, who wanted to play how we wanted to play and didn't want the ball, and they wanted to be physical and they wanted to match us up, and we found that really tough. Obviously, the Lutons and the Towns and the Cardiff who wanted the ball pose a different problem. I think we're going to be well rehearsed and well versed in playing against those teams. I think that the problems are going to come perhaps against teams who play a little bit differently. And obviously, we've got Lincoln coming up in 3 weeks' time, and they're a side who play the same way as us, don't they, Chris?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think between you and us, it's something like the lowest average possession in the league. And I was just looking, I just quickly we wanted to check this, like to see how we got on like possession wise against Luton on Saturday, which we won 3-1 against Luton, but we only have 43% possession. So it's and you know what, I bloody love it, because how long, and you know, Brownie, you know how long I've been banging on about how possession is far from, it doesn't mean anything in football in the grand scheme of things. And a lot of the time you get far more exciting football out of it by not necessarily having the ball and passing it around from side to side. And it's going to be interesting. Yeah. I think we're 10 games unbeaten. So like as it stands,
some trends are coming back around. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that like long throw-ins and it's coming back? Is it? It's I think there's going to be a team that's going to do 2 strikers soon. And it's going to be 4-4-2 is going to be coming back. I'm telling you, that is my prediction.
Oh, I hope so. That's like
I've heard about his football manager tactics.
Yeah. You should see him on FIFA, Gaz. Honestly, no, we randomise fixtures, right? And we'll play with like 2 German teams that should be just 4-2-3. Always plays 4-4-2. Right? He can only have 1 striker in the entire squad, and we'll make a centre back, a centre forward.
I will find another player to play a striker if I have to. To be fair, he's not wrong. Every game I play, it doesn't matter who we play on FIFA, it's 4-4-2.
Am I right in thinking you don't let Jay play anymore on that, would you? Do you just not invite him to games or anything?
We're not having that. Like, he's a freak. Like, he's an absolute freak on FIFA. But going back to I'm really. I have absolutely no idea, to be fair, guys, how that game's going to go. I say it's the 11th of October, so we're talking about 3 weeks' time. And obviously, it'd be interesting to see what the form's like going into that, whether both sides are on as good a form then as they are currently, sort of thing. If we keep this run up, it could be an absolute humdinger where nobody wants the ball.
Yeah, I think we've got Blackpool at home on Saturday. Obviously, Blackpool have had a really tough start. So it'll be interesting to see how they come and play, because you look at the owner that they've got big money there at Blackpool, billionaire owner. They've made some big signings in the summer. I know they took Fraser Horsfall from Stockport, who Town were after, and he will be on big money at Blackpool because he's been given a 4-year contract. He had a lot of interest in the summer, but it's interesting to see. I was looking at the lineup. He's only been on the bench recently, so they're obviously mixing and matching. When you look at City, I don't know if you brought the comment up that Paul's put in, Brownie, while I was off, but he makes a really good point there about how we have had to be a little bit makeshift at the back. Graham Alexander said he learnt a lesson from last year where he played, and a lesson that he's from the way he's sort of managed in his whole managerial career, where he's always been of a case of if the team's winning and playing well, you stick with the team. And he thought as a player, he never wanted to come out when the team were winning. He wanted to play every single game. But he said he learnt a lesson last year where he did that, and we picked up a lot of injuries in those first 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season. And he's tried to rotate a little bit, and players have been coming in and dropping out, and we've done well to keep the form going. While that's been going on, to be honest, we have picked up injuries at the back. Neil Byrne's been injured, Joe Wright's been injured, and obviously we've had to rotate a little bit because of that. But he's tried his best to keep swapping players in and and avoiding that scenario. So when the team hits 1 game a week, which it might do in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it'd be interesting to see whether we keep that going and whether we do rotate as much or whether we play a more settled side. But yeah, just really happy with how things are going at the moment.
Who have you got? Sorry to digress a second, Brown. Who have you got in the game before the Lincoln match? So obviously you've got Blackpool next. So for example, I've just been checking Lincoln. So we've got interesting game tomorrow night. We've got Chelsea in the League Cup at home tomorrow night. We've then got Peterborough away on Saturday, which is a bit of a derby for us, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see Peterborough turn up for that one. And we've then got Exeter at home, which you'd hope we'd win, and then obviously away at Bradford. So, hypothetically, if we should take a point from Peterborough away and then beat Exeter, I could see us being in a reasonable position when we go into my parade.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Lincoln went top, didn't they, briefly on Saturday before the afternoon fixtures were played. We've got Newcastle in the Cup on Wednesday night away. Then we've got Blackpool at home on Saturday in the league. And then we actually play on the Thursday night after that. Our game's been moved to Thursday and it's Rotherham away. I think that's been moved for Sky. So obviously Yorkshire derby. Rotherham not had the best of starts either, have they? But it'll be a tough game. I thought our record against Rotherham's not great and hasn't been for a while. That's, like I said, a Thursday night. And then we've almost got 10 days off before the Lincoln game on Saturday. We don't play a midweek game in the build-up to Lincoln.
Fair enough. That'll be interesting.
Just want to bring this up. I saw on Twitter earlier, Bradford City's Josh Neufeld is the only player across England's top 4 tiers so far this season to record 3+ goal contributions, 10 interceptions and 30 tackles. What a signing. Gaz, I guess you concur with that, mate?
Oh, absolutely. He's been a hell of a signing, and there were eyebrows raised a little bit when he joined us in the summer. From two perspectives, really. The fact that he was Wimbledon's Player of the Year. He was being linked with a lot of clubs, some probably low end of the Championship or definitely teams that were expected to be doing well in League One. Wimbledon fans were shocked and I suppose disappointed too when he came to Bradford. They perhaps thought he'd go to somewhere that had more expectation or more ambition, should we say? That I don't like saying ambition because every club's ambitious, but yeah, more expectation to do well in League One or, like I said, maybe even lower end of the Championship. And then from the other perspective, he was coming in to play in Brad Halliday's position, right wing back. Brad's been someone who's been absolutely fantastic for City during his 3 years at the club. He's won Player of the Year while he's been there. Had a tricky start to last season, but lost his place briefly to Jay Ben at the early part of the season, but came back really, really, really well and found his old form and was a big player in us getting into the getting automatic promotion last year. So the fact that Josh came in to play in his position was a bit of an eyebrow raiser, but you can see why. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's been our outlet week in, week out, getting up and down that right-hand side. He can't half put a decent ball in. He's now scored in his last 2 games, so he's adding goals to his game. What I'm glad about with Josh is that I've been disappointed in the past when we've given 3-year contracts out to players who you would know or you would be highly likely to want rid of after at least 1 or 2. Well, this year and under David Sharp, we have been very careful with the deals that we've offered out. And it has been noticeable that Josh and Jensen Metcalf are the only 2 players that have been given those length of contracts. They were both signed on 3-year contracts in the summer. And you can see what he's doing there. He's not throwing money at players, or shall we say, journeyman League One, League Two players. He's throwing money. He's putting the money into players that you can see as an investment, that players that could give us a return further down the line. And Josh is definitely looking like one of those. I know Downsy was impressed with him when Town came to City. And you could see him, if we don't go up or make the playoffs or whatever this year, you could see him being somebody that we could make a damn good amount of money on, that we can be investing back into the side later on, because he looks a hell of a player, mate. He's been really, really good.
Yeah, with that length of contracts, he could easily be a 7-figure transfer.
Yeah,
as you say, like this summer or the summer after, depending on what happens for City. And we said it the same in the summer as well. I think we were on with Lou. And we were saying what a ridiculous coup that was, really, to pull off that signing for City, given that. And yeah, you're quite right. We expect him to go certainly League One level. The sides you would certainly thought would have been title contenders, your Cardiffs, your Lutons, etc. And what a great signing he's turned out to be for Bradford so far. I'll make it continue.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. What I'd like to say as well, just on that, he's somebody who started his City career really, really well. Tommy Lee, you showed his goal earlier, Brownie. He's somebody who's been the other way, and he's struggled since he rocked up at City in January. been played in a few different positions, been played as a striker, been played as wide in the front three. And this season, he's been sort of, I believe that Graham Alexander and him had a long chat in the summer about where they see him playing and where he can be effective for us this season. And he's been playing in a 2 with Max Power in central midfield, and he's been a revelation. He's been miles better. He's been the player that we hoped he could be. He's been finding his form that he had for Aki Stanley 2 or 3 years ago. He looks a real good partner for Max Power in that central position. And I were really pleased for him getting that goal on Saturday. It's his first goal for City, and it's a goal that he thoroughly deserved. And I hope that gives him the confidence to kick on even further now, going into the rest of the season.
Good stuff. Carabao Cup, as you mentioned on Wednesday, Gaz, it's Newcastle United coming to town. What are your thoughts on that one, mate?
We're actually away, Brownie. We're up at St James's Park.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I've not been before.
Good research by me tonight. Lovely.
You're going to tune.
Yeah, I've not been before, so I'm looking forward to going. I'm told that the view is a long way, a mile away from the pitch. So that's something that I'm not perhaps in throw with. But City are taking 5,000 fans up there on Wednesday night. Obviously, probably partly due to the fact that it's a Premier League side, partly due to the fact that we've had a great start to the season. I believe that Newcastle will make changes, that they're bound to. I think it's come out today that Guimaraes isn't going to play. He'll be one of many, I'm sure, that won't play. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You want them to put the good players out there because you want to see them. But then you think, well, the way we're playing, if they make a lot of changes, what's to say we can't put in a really good performance and maybe turn over what might be a second string 11 up there. So you look at it both ways. It's going to be a really good day out. It's going to be something that the club have earned, having beaten both Blackburn and Stoke away in the first 2 rounds. And let's go and enjoy it, and let's see what we can take from it. Can we progress? Depends, like I said, probably largely depends on what sort of a side Newcastle put out. But it'll be a money spinner for the club as well, and it's something that we're all really looking forward to.
Remember to take your inhaler, or failing that, a brown paper bag to hyperventilate into. The steps are ridiculous.
Or an oxygen mask, because I've been there 3 times now and I've needed an oxygen. But the one thing is, Gaz, when you get up there, just take in the view, mate, because you see literally the entire city from the top of the stand. So it's I think it's the best stadium in England, bar the John Smiths. Sorry, Aku Stadium now, but yeah.
Good stuff. Chris, we got you on. League One, Lincoln. Like Gaz mentioned, you were briefly at the summit yourselves. I mean, how do you make of this season panning out so far? I mean, am I right in thinking you're exceeding expectations at this time?
Well, my own expectations, certainly. I remember when we did the League One preview show that I was like, mid-table at best sort of thing, maybe a sniff of the playoffs. Yeah, it's going well. The recruitment.
You sound so surprised.
Honestly, I am like, because we were losing players left, right, and centre in the summer. You know, we lost kind of 4 key players from the starting 11, and they're thinking we're not probably replacing them, but there's players that we brought in the summer before that ended up kind of going out on loan. Rob Street is a great example. For example, we loaned him out, I think last January. He barely kicked a ball in the first half of last season. We loaned out to Doncaster and he got a few goals. He's come back in and been like straight into the starting 11 sort of thing, and it's been like having a new signing almost, even though it's a year after he actually joined. I'm absolutely staggered, to be honest. As I say, at one point, before the 3 o'clock kickoffs got underway, we were top. I think there was a point not long into the 3 o'clock kickoffs, I think, Gaz, where it was Bradford and Lincoln were the top 2 and Huddersfield was still outside the playoffs. So it was like, Christ, end the season then. It's all right. I know Downsy's going to get his own back when we start talking down. And yeah, it's just been a remarkable start to the season. It's just whether we've got the depth when injuries and suspensions starting to hit, because along with having the least possession in the division so far, we've also picked up the most bookings in League One so far this season. So when injuries and suspensions start to hit, it's whether the squad depth is there to cope with that. I feel like it actually might well be. There were some late signings, a couple of loanees on deadline day that have come in. One of them, a bit crew, got his first goal on Saturday against Luton. And you know what? I think Saturday was quite a good example of progress that we've made because we were ahead early on against Luton. They equalised in like the 76th minute. And last season, we'd have either, at best, we'd have seen that out for a draw. We'd have potentially even cocked it up and lost it 2-1, or at best, we'd have held out for the draw. But actually, they made a couple of changes. We were able to go through the gears again and score 2 more goals and win it 3-1 against what is still on paper a good Luton side that actually hasn't been doing quite as badly as I thought they had been coming to the game. So, yeah, I think progress is being made, and I think Skubala actually is working wonders at the moment to shut up quite a lot of the doubters.
I was going to say, because I'm sure, wasn't there a bit of a kind of
it was a
building
mixed
against
bag.
him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Back end of last season and over the course of the summer, not a full split, but there was certainly murmurs of discontent from some, and there was somebody that wouldn't have been too fussed if he'd have gone elsewhere. He's well and truly shut them up, and at times, don't get me wrong, at times I kind of wondered whether a change might work, might not. But as I say, it's going superbly. And so that big game on October the 11th, and then the big game against Town, I think, is on New Year's Day or thereabouts. So
live watch along, did I hear you say then, Chris? Live watch along? You can say.
For which one? On New Year's Day? I doubt it.
We're going to say New Year's Day could work. I mean, to be fair, me and Gaz, we're going to go to the City game. So I know we're going to meet up for a pint or something beforehand or maybe afterwards. So, looking forward to it, and we'll see how we go.
Did you get your ticket sorted, Chris, for that?
I haven't actually. I need to double check that. I'm glad you. To be fair, I've been asleep all day because I was at work till 5 a.m. this morning. I need to look into that actually, because general sales for season ticket holders and everything, I think was over the weekend, and whatever's left has gone on sale today. So I need to double check that actually.
Yeah, we need a post-match review from you boys that day, definitely.
Gaz didn't want to meet me after the Town game, so it's fine. It's fair enough, Gaz. I see who your favourite is on the podcast.
You were already on the motorway, weren't you? Left half an hour early.
We were going to meet up, Downsy. I said it was just a shame we couldn't do it before because I don't normally go out after, but we're meeting up. We're meeting up before, aren't we, Chris? And then Downsy, you were on the motorway halfway home by the time we'd come out the ground. So
hey, I had good reason to be. Trust me. I would have not been good company after the game.
Just want to bring this up from Lou. Waiting for Brown to say Lincoln's success is because of Leeds and Skubala. Well,
I thought Lewis would have better things to do, seeing as he's in Cape Verde. He's tuning into us on a Monday night.
He's doing his videos. He's giving us non-league roundups. He's the oracle, isn't he? He never stops, that guy. Never stops.
Lad's lost, but the only thing I want to pick Chris up on is Lincoln v Peterborough derby. Your geography.
Yeah. There's always been quite a bit of needle between the clubs because Keith Alexander went there after he was at Lincoln, and
I know we have a rivalry with Peterborough that goes back 30 years, but I won't call it a derby.
Well, it's not that far geographically, to be fair, like Lincoln to Peterborough.
It's miles away.
And considering that we've met each other quite a lot as well over the years in League One and League Two, there's quite a lot of disdain, certainly between the fan bases for each other. So I say it goes back to the Alexander years, and we ended up there, and players that have gone from us to them over the years as well when we were on our ass and the like. So there's quite a lot of dislike between the two fan bases and the two clubs, to be fair. And anything to do with Barry Fry is always hard to stomach as well. So
except watching his documentary where he goes mad on YouTube.
It's just Barry Fry, isn't it? It's just mad, full stop.
Yeah.
Good stuff. If you watch it on live, please do remember, smash a like on the video. Get us followed on socials as well. Twitter, Facebook. We're on TikTok as well with the youth. So catch us on there. Some interesting stuff going on there. Downsy.
What?
Huddersfield Town.
Brownie, what's up?
I don't know. My finger.
Sorry, I broke up the my internet. It's like Gazza's tonight. We must be in the same house.
What a shocker.
Downsy, Huddersfield Town. You did Town Talk last night with Kane and the boys. And if you want to check that out, please do go and watch Downsy's full review of, post-mortem, I guess you could call it as well. Disappointing. You got a point, yeah. Disappointing result, though, against bottom of the league, Burton, 0-0. Downsy, how are you feeling about it all at the minute? Because I know we had an interesting kind of chat in the group, wasn't it, about whether, is it right to feel too down about what's happening at the minute or what? I've got to say, for me personally, and I understood where you come from, if it was, Leeds when they were in the Championship, you want to bounce straight back after relegation, and, it's hard to take results that don't go for it. So I did understand where you came coming from with that. But a couple of days on now, how are you feeling about it at the moment?
Can I very quickly just say they weren't bottom of the league at the start of the day either? They're only bottom of the league now because a couple of other results went against them.
There we go.
Brownie, you're having a shocker tonight with research.
I haven't hosted the Monday night show in a while. Come on.
No, you've got to brush up, haven't you? Dust off them old hosting shoes. No, how am I feeling? Listen, it was fantastic to have Oliver on. Made his debut all the way from the Falkland Islands. Which, how mad is this, by the way? I said to him, at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, what time is it over there? And he went, it's only 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I went, so what's 4 hours away? He went, yeah. I said, so it's quicker to get to the Falkland Islands on a flight, probably, than it is to, get to London.
Is that how far you had to reach out for someone willing to come on to talk about
Basically, yeah, Brownie. We and Oliver is a fantastic guest. But, yeah, I don't think I had a meltdown in the chat Saturday. That didn't happen.
You were very down, Downsy. Really down.
I quote, I hate football. But
that's my
I had said that about half an hour before you actually when Wolves scored.
Isn't that normally my standard thing when Town are playing crap? I hate football. But yeah, we listen, Burton are a tough side at that in terms of physicality. They're not a good footballing side. A bit like what kind of Gaz was saying about Wimbledon, actually. They didn't come to play football. They came to disrupt Town, to be a nuisance. And quite frankly, they came to get the point that they did. And that's fair play to them. But the first half, what really frustrated me, Brownie, was the fact that they did have chances. And every team's going to have chances in games. No, unless you're playing Man City, which ironically we are on Wednesday, and which we'll come on to. But they could have easily been 2-0 up at half time, and it wouldn't have been like a bad thing for them to be. But Town just didn't. Again, we kind of dominated the football, but without really dominating the half. We passed from side to side. The ball went backwards. There was no drive from midfield except for Kasumu on a couple of attempts, and Alfie May and Joe Taylor didn't really have a lot of service up the top, to be honest. Half time comes, he makes the substitution with Ruskin going off. Rowan comes to left back, who absolutely got ripped to shreds against Northfield at Bradford, and I think he was City's best player on the day. As you've rightly said, he's going to go far. He's that lad in terms of a career. But Rowan came on and actually added a bit more balance to us at the back. First 10 minutes, we really pressed Burton back, and they couldn't really handle the quick football that we started to play. Then we dropped back into the first half style, and then the last 10 minutes, we really went for it again. It was so frustrating that if we'd have done that for the full 90 minutes, we might have got 3 points. But my whole point is, and I said this against Bradford, and I'm saying it against Burton, if you want to get promoted out of this league, you need to beat teams like Burton Albion at home. Whether Chris likes it or not, I don't really care what Chris says right now, right? Yeah, this is a man with knowledge. I fully understand that Chris is a man with knowledge on football. However, I support my club, and I say, whether I'm right or wrong, you can debate in the comments. We need to beat teams such as Burton Albion if we are to get promoted out of this league. And we didn't beat them. We drew 0-0, and I was quite cross after the game, Brownie, as you well know.
Well, if we think Downsy was cross, I just want to throw this comment up from this was Huddersfield Town Fan TV. Could be watching tonight. Wow. Actually, drop a comment if you do. Grant already looks bereft of ideas, and we're only 9 games in. Shocking football to watch, and unfortunately, the way it's heading, he'll be lucky to be still here by Christmas. If he doesn't adapt quickly, people saying give him time were saying the same with Duff last season. Is that fair, Danzy? And how much do you agree with it deep down?
No, I don't agree with it. I'll be honest. Like, and me and the lad that runs the channel, sometimes butt heads. Nice lad, but heads. I think we can't keep swapping managers. It's mental. We've seen it at Bradford City, like, over the years. We've seen it at Leeds United. Like, the amount of times that teams swap managers for really no good reason. And then don't get anywhere, and you go, well, we'll write off this season and we'll try again next season. And then, then you end up with one season in 15 being all right, don't you? As we all well know on this channel, and I think the thing with Grant is we all accepted at the start of the season that he's a young manager. So he's got to learn. He's got to learn his trade. But there is an expectancy at Huddersfield Town Football Club that you have to get us out of this division. I'm not saying that we, you deserve where you deserve where you need to be after the sort of football and the way the club's been run over the last couple of years. But Huddersfield Town as a football club need to be challenging, definitely at the top of League One to be going automatically promoted, or as we have done in the majority of the last 20 years. Trying to survive in the Championship. So he's got massive pressure on his shoulders. The last couple of games have definitely not been good enough. And we need to see an improvement, and we need to see it fast.
What about the man who makes the decisions, though, Kevin Nagle? What do you suspect he's thinking about this? Pumped a lot of money into this and will no doubt be expecting automatics, you would say. I mean, what do we think he's thinking there?
So the problem that Kevin's got is that he's already sacked 5 managers. I think it's 5.
Is it 5?
I think I've lost count. I think it's 5. So he's already had 5 managers. Now Dean Oil had 8 managers, 9 managers in his whole 14 years in the club. So, there's got to be a bit. Can I count them?
Can we just work this out? So we Warnock, Moore, Brighton, Writer, Duff.
Yeah.
Am I missing somebody?
Grant.
No. So Moore. So Warnock was his first. Warnock was his first. Moore, Brighton, Writer.
Duff,
and John Worthington for 10 games.
Yeah.
But I'm not really counting Worthy because I mean he got the job, but he won't so he technically he's had 4 permanents, 5 managers if you count Worthy. So he's on to his 6th manager already, and that's mental to say he's only owned the club since 2023. It's mad. It's absolutely crazy. But Kevin has pumped a lot of money in this season, and you have to be given he has to be given great credit for that. The club has gone out and signed some really good talent. The squad had to have a refresh. We've done that. I was perfectly happy with the 14 players that we've brought in. I think they're all very good quality. Grant's got amazing options to pick from. But the tactics on the pitch are what are slowing us down. And we don't play quick football. And in League One, you play quick football, you normally get results. Or you play the way that Bradford are playing, which is fine as well. That's a perfectly understandable style of play that Bradford have got.
Were they hoping for like a Kieran McKenna type thing here? Were they hoping that it's someone who's not managed at first team level, and then they can kind of get it going? Is that kind of what they were wanting with this appointment?
I think they looked at Kieran McKenna, and obviously Grant has he's worked under some world class coaches at Man United as well. Let's have it right. As bad as what Man United are, they still are world class coaches in some respects. So I think his pedigree is very good. He's a very, very likable chap. I've said that for the last 9 weeks. He's got good contacts in the game. That's clear to see, and he's got a very, very good standing within the FA, and that's them sort of circles which can't harm you either. But that all goes to crap when you don't get results for your club on the pitch. And I think he knows that he's under pressure. There was a few boos at the end of the game against Burton, but the boos are not right. The boos are not negative. What they are is frustration. The frustration is we know that these lads can be better. We know that these lads can produce more quality than what they're producing. We had 4 shots on target against Burton Albion. Burton Albion had 3, and they didn't even attack. And we had 4, and we had, I think, 15 attempts on goal. Only 4 were on target, and we had 8 corners, and none of them came to anything. Now, you could say, well, they had 2 blocked off the line. Joe Lowe should have scored his header, so we should have won 3-0. But we didn't. We drew 0-0. I know in my meltdown after the game, it was pointed out to me by the lad in the bottom square next to me that we moved up 2 places. But that means nothing at the end of the season when you need to collect the points against teams like Burton, when you're going to have Cardiff coming up on the rails. They're still playing well. Plymouth will improve. Barnsley are playing well. Bradford are the surprise package. They're doing really well. You could have a team like Reading that come up on the rails late on. So that's where the pressure is, Brownie, and that's the frustration that I've got.
Yeah,
sorry, but the boos are not negative. Those famous positive boos of frustration.
Boo earns.
It's not. It's no. You're taking that out of context.
I know. I'm joking.
I know. But it's like.
Go on, Gaz.
Yeah.
Well, the first point I wanted to make was, and it was an interesting one from the town fan that messaged him before. Did he say something about the football's awful? I think that's a really, really interesting point to make, because we've talked about this, particularly regarding City, when people have said managers play this kind of... I think a lot of people think that possession-based football is what everybody wants to see, and it's not necessarily what I want to see. And I've said this about with City and Alexander in particular, and I think by Chris's head movement there, he kind of agrees, obviously having watched with the way Lincoln are playing. Like, we don't always want the ball, but when we attack with real, what's the word?
Gusto.
Yeah, it's very intensity, I think, and gusto. And when we go, we really go, and it can be quite exciting to watch. So I think that's the first point to make. And I think that sometimes it works very well in League Two, and I think sometimes it can work in League One. I think when you're in the Championship, not necessarily, it's not something that will work every single week. So that was the first point I wanted to make. The second point was our Town. I thought when you came to Bradford Downsy, I thought going forward you looked really, really good. It was defensively that you struggled, and like you said, like Rowan really struggled with Nerfville down that side. But going forward, I didn't think you had a problem at all. I thought, and it's interesting that therefore then became a problem against Burton. But Burton are a side, and Gary Bowyer's a manager that we know how he'll set the team up, and he will do Absolutely. That week in, week out, and he'll have them well drilled, and he knows that is how he's going to... We see it, don't we, at all levels of football. Yeah. I mean, Burnley nearly did it against Liverpool 10 days ago, whenever it was. Teams will come and they will do that. And Gary Bowyer was even doing that style of play when he was at Bradford, when we were expected to be doing well and getting promoted out of League Two. And that's probably what led to a lot of fans turning against him so quickly, was that he set up that way, even with the players that he had. So I think that Burton are going to be like that. You're going to come up against teams like that, and teams that are well drilled and play like that week in, week out aren't always going to be easy to turn over.
No, I agree, Gaz. And actually last season, you look at our results, I think we only beat Shrewsbury in the last minute down at Shrewsbury, but they beat us at our place. We lost to Northampton twice. We lost to Burton at our place. We lost to Cambridge at our place. So we had a habit last season of not being able to break teams down. Lost to Bristol Rovers away as well, who sat back, who didn't hardly attack. So it's a massive thing. But Grant has got the tools in this league. You've all said on this podcast and wider afield that we've spent a lot of money, and we have spent a lot of money to buy and loan players that should be able to break down this type of opposition. Alfie May, Joe Taylor, Leo Castledine, who's one of the best academy products in Chelsea, Chelsea's academy, his age group. You know,
he was
Will
great
Alvarez,
against City, by the way.
yeah, it was. And the thing about him, Gaz, is you made the point the week before about Wimbledon's number 10. And I knew if we got Castledine on the ball more, we could cause you problems. And then we stopped doing it. And then you got into the game and the goals happened and whatever. I agree defensively, we were really poor against Bradford. Defensively against Burton, we were a bit better. But we didn't have to be amazing because they didn't really attack. Like I said, they only had three shots in the whole game that were on target. Lee Nichols made 2 great saves, but the other one, I can't remember the other one. It wasn't amazing, the shot that they had. And that's why the frustration is, because Grant's got all these tools and swaps and changes his team about, doesn't have a consistent starting 11, and we just can't have any consistency going. Yeah, it's mental to think that we're unbeaten. We're unbeaten.
Is he still working it out, though? Is that basically what this is? That he's still just trying to work out what his best tactic, his best 11, and what he thinks he's going to work actually. And these things take time with a new manager, especially in this case, a manager that hasn't already got a blueprint from a previous job.
But yeah, and I agree, Chris. They do, and he's taking his time. But how many games then do you let that go by and go, well, it's 18 games in now, and nearly a third of a season. He's still learning his trade, still learning his better team. He needs to work out his best team. 25 games have gone. It's all right. We're still 6th in the league, 7th in the league, but he's still working his team out. It's how long do you let it go? I'm not saying, by the way, get rid of Grant. I've made that point. We have to stick with Grant. Hello, come high water, because Nagel cannot sack another manager. He can't do it. But
he can.
He can. Well, of course he can. But in my opinion, we can't sack another manager. I want to sack Duff. Well, that was just me. No. I definitely wouldn't be sacking Grant.
We nearly did a Mr. Gaffney there, didn't we?
You've made a really good point, in particular when you mentioned us, because that's something I learned as time goes on. You just can't keep sacking managers. At some time, you've got to try something that you've not tried before, which is probably sticking with a manager for longer than you feel you should. Some fans feel you should have done. I think you're making a really good point.
Well, listen, guys, for a second here. There's a difference. Then this, I think, is the big difference: is that City broke the cycle by sticking with a manager who'd been there, done it, previous experience, the level, promotions on his CV, and that's going to be the big difference here. I think is. Obviously, Grant has to make it work sooner rather than later. Otherwise, it's going to look like he just doesn't know what his best tactics are, what his formation is. Whereas, obviously, Town ended up moving Warnock on to a point. Obviously, Darren Moore, I appreciate, was terrible, but he had a record that wasn't bad elsewhere. And you look at Duff, and this is where the similarities are going to end up being drawn. Is that actually was Duff the man to have stuck with to try to break that cycle of sacking and replacing?
But how mad was it when they got rid of Warnock? Sorry to interrupt, Chris. I mean, Warnock, it was like Warnock that were absolutely, the start of the season, they were doing absolutely fine in the Championship and got this big idea about, we've got to be progressive or something. And it completely backfired.
Well, Brownie, that is where
I need to go,
his
lads,
whole chair.
See you later, pal. Thank you for
right,
that.
Cheers, mate. Brownie, that's where his whole chairmanship will always be defined, I think. Depending on if he gets us back to the Championship and say if he goes on and does, what Hoyle did and gets in the Premier League and whatever, he's got to do something like that, because otherwise he'll always be defined as the man that sacked Warnock after 7 games. And that's why we're at the point that we are at the minute, because he then hired Darren Moore, who was horrific. He then hired Brian Reiter, who didn't want to be in England, which is fine. I mean, it was raining. It's raining in Germany, isn't it? And then he hired Michael Duff, who, had a certain amount of experience and should have been good enough to do the job, but because of fan pressure and the way it was going and whatever else, he decided to get rid of him, and now we're at the point where we've got Grant. But and I agree, Gaz, what you said about and I think because I've made the point, we both agree on this about you can't keep sacking managers. The only caveat to that is when you employ somebody such as Mark Fotheringham or Hockaday at Leeds, who have just no idea about football, should never be in that position at all. And then you go, well, yes, actually, you need to be sacked after 3 games. That's the only difference.
Exeter next weekend after the Man City game in the Cup. I mean, Exeter, poor team, lost 4 out of the last 5, sat there in 16th. A bad result there. And it's, it's a lot of pressure then, isn't it?
I don't want to sound disrespectful, but we should be going and beating teams like Exeter, to be quite honest.
You're all right. Chris has gone.
No, thank God. I can say what I want there. We've got to go and beat teams like Exeter if we want to get promoted. I mean, like you've just said, Brownie, the record in the last 5 fixtures is horrific. Gary Colville actually is a half decent gaffer, I think, at Football League level. He did all right at Wigan, didn't he? And did he go somewhere else before?
Yeah, he was somewhere else. I can't remember
Exeter.
where it was.
And he did all right. I don't think he did like a really bad job, but and he did all right with Exeter last year because everybody expected them to go down last year and they didn't. He made them stay up. I think they finished 16th or something last season. So. But it's going bad for him this year. They've lost a few players. They've not brought really anybody in. It's a long way. The only caveat to Exeter is it's bloody miles away, isn't it? Like I said, you can get to Falklands quicker probably than you can Exeter. So, it's a long old trip down there, especially in crap conditions. It's not the nicest of grounds, is it? I mean, I've never been, but it's hardly the other St James's Park, is it, if we're being honest, where Gaz is going on Wednesday. So we've got to win. But Grant's got to bounce back, and he has to realise that you have to go to places like this and get wins.
Yeah.
So that's. But I thought it was Stockport last week. To be honest, next week on the Town Talk. Sure, I got my fixtures mixed up. I thought it was Stockport.
Are you criticising my research, Dan?
I know.
Exeter will play very similar to how Burton played as well, won't they? I mean, I know they're at home, but they're going to set up, I would imagine, set up very similar. So you're going to see how much you've learnt from Saturday, mate, I suppose.
It's quite a good opponent to have, Gaz, to be honest, because it just shows whether he has learnt lessons.
Let's have a look at the league table then.
No, we don't. God's sake.
Now, Chris did this.
I
half expected Chris to cut off just to spite Huddersfield Town. I half expected him to just cut it off at 4th place. Thought that'll be Chris all over. But no, there we go. Look at that, Gaz. Bradford City, top of the pile. Amazing start. Is it kind of where you expected with the other teams then, the playoff contenders there? I mean, obviously, Chris saying about Lincoln, expected mid-table. We've got Barnsley sitting in 6th there as well. But what do you boys think of how the league is in general this time?
Do you want to take it down, Z, first?
If we'd have said this after 10 games before the season, if somebody could have secretly shown me this table, I would have been quite surprised. Bradford top, Stevenage second. I think they're doing exceptionally well with Alex Ravel. Again, I have them to be relegated by the end of the season. I don't think that's going to happen. Lincoln third. If you'd have had them top 3, I wouldn't have believed. Is this a League One table of 10 years ago? Then you've got Cardiff, like you said, who I had up there, but not. I don't think I had them in the playoffs. We're 5th, which is probably around where I thought we might be, if not a bit higher. Barnsley are always going to be down there. Doncaster, a bit of a surprise, I think, in 7th. They've done well. Stockport are lower than what I thought they were going to be. I thought they'd start like a house on fire, and it's not quite happened for them. Wimbledon have shocked me as well. I had them rock bottom, and they've done really well. And Bolton are lower, certainly lower than what I thought they were going to be. I mean, you look at that top 10, Brownie, you haven't even got Luton in there. You've not got Plymouth in there. And you haven't got Reading in there, who I thought, Blackpool, who are 2 teams that I thought would do really well. So I know I've just gone through every team there. Sorry about that, but I think it really is an interesting top of the league. After the first 9 fixtures, I'll hand over to now my colleague in Mr. Gaz.
You've nailed it. You've said everything I was going to say. If you just bring it up again, Brownie, it is literally what I was going to say. I mean, I wouldn't have expected us to be top. I was hoping for mid-table at best. Stevenage, like Downsy said, I thought they'd really struggle. Lincoln, I thought would be around mid-table. Cardiff, I expected to be up there. Town, I thought would be up there. Barnsley, I thought would be up there. Donny, probably similar to us. I thought it'd be around mid-table. Stockport, I thought it'd be there. Wimbledon, I had rock bottom, just like Downsy. Bolton, I thought I'd be there. And then, like you mentioned in Plymouth and Luton and Blackpool, I thought they'd all be there and thereabouts as well. So, yeah, it's a mixture, really, 50-50. Some I thought would be, some I'm a little bit surprised at. But, yeah, people say don't look at the table till 10 games in, and a lot of teams will have played 10 games on come Saturday. I know that, obviously, Stevenage and Cardiff both have a game in hand on us and can both go above us, but there or thereabouts come Saturday, you might start taking it a bit more. Some people might start looking at it a bit more than that otherwise well have done.
I'll tell you what it proves. Momentum is everything in it. Look at the 3 promoted sides there. Look at the momentum from the end of last year and being promoted, and look at the relegation sides from the Championship. Luton, Plymouth, and they're nowhere to be seen. Momentum's everything in football, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And looking at that as well, Cardiff had only conceded 2 goals before Saturday as well, so it makes it even more impressive,
they were both penalties, Brownie. They'd only conceded 2 penalties before Saturday.
They're doing a lot better than I thought they would, actually, under the manager that they've got there, that Brian Barry Murphy, because he plays an absolute dishwater style of football. But yeah, I was trying to come up with an analogy for you tonight, Brownie, about Town.
That's the best we've had, dishwater.
I know you might want to move on, but Town were like a Victoria sponge without any cream or jam on Saturday. We were just, like them lemon cakes that you get with just a bit of sprinkle on top. We were like kind of like one of them, really.
Is your opinion on Brian Barry Murphy? Is that something you and Chris both actually agree on?
Probably. It's one of the only things on this planet that we agree on, yeah.
Exactly.
I think what do you think, Gaz? Do you think, can you see any of the sides that we thought would be up there? Do you think, we'll see them? Because we've probably watched every team now, haven't we? Between us in League
Near
One.
enough. Yeah.
Blackpool didn't impress me, and even though they beat us, I didn't think much of them. I don't think we've played Plymouth yet. I don't know. Have you played Plymouth? I can't remember.
No, we've got Blackpool on Saturday. I have a horrible feeling. I mean, I've never rated Steve Bruce as a manager, but the way they finished last season and the money that they've spent, I thought that they'd be there and thereabouts, and I can see them coming and making it really difficult for us on Saturday. I think Luton will come good, Downsy. I think the squad is too good for them not to. I think that they will move. I mean, they have been knocking around the playoffs until they lost on Saturday. I know they lost to Lincoln and dropped down a bit on Saturday. Plymouth are a funny one because they started really badly, but then they won 2 or 3 games, and I thought, right, that they're going to come good now. But then they lost on Saturday as well, so it's difficult, mate. I think, like I said, I think Luton definitely, Plymouth and Blackpool less so.
Yeah, Ian here thinks Bolton will be up there. We will wait and see. Lewis Sale, our non-league oracle, is out there on holiday at the moment, but ever the professional, he still manages to get a non-league roundup. So here we go. This is Lewis Sale with his non-league roundup for the West Yorkshire Football Show.
Hi, Lewis here reporting from Cape Verde on an international tour, as you may say. But great to have you join us this evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, as I've probably mentioned before, hit your like and subscribe buttons on the channel. It's really appreciated all the support that you give to us, just to round up with everything that's happening non-league across the course of a weekend. It's not been too bad actually for our clubs in West Yorkshire, starting off with Halifax Town, who went to Gateshead and got a really much needed victory, so that'll definitely please Dave in the group. But good 2-1 victory there up in the North East, and hopefully they can build on that for the rest of the campaign. Moving down the pyramid, Guiseley got a 3-1 victory over Morpeth Town. think apparently John Lafuda had a very, very decent game for guys in quite a much changed squad that Bauer and Boschel had put the changes together after a bit of a disappointing past couple of games. But a good win there, and they face a really tough trip away at Lancaster, who are in and around the top spot, so that'll be a really tough trip to Cumbria for the Lions. And then there were a fair bit of action in the FA Trophy. Bradford Park Avenue and Silsden coming out victors and flying the West Yorkshire flag. So Bradford Park Avenue beat Consett 2-0 and Silsden beat Nantwich 3-0 in apparently what was, just looking behind me, quite a horrible time in terms of the weather conditions at both grounds, and can't really say I've had the same over here, but nevertheless I can't wait to come back to that one. But obviously moving down to the FA Vars, and some really good wins. Campion, Ecclesdale, Horbury getting into the first round proper, which is a really great achievement for those clubs, and hopefully that they can kick on. And you never know, can you imagine one of our teams being in under the Wembley Arch come the end of the season? It'd be fabulous on non-league day. But yeah, just keep it tuned in. Obviously there's a lot of fixtures happening across the course of midweek, and obviously across the course of the weekend as well. You know, there's likes of Emley who beat Blythe Town 1-0 at the weekend. They're in action, as at Ossett United after suffering a disappointing loss at home to Washington. And like I say, there's some really decent tasty fixtures, and just as the league table's starting to shape up and the cup competitions are really getting going, you can see teams gathering a bit of momentum now and seeing exactly where they think they fit in terms of league and cup competitions. But from me, from Cape Verde, all the best, chaps. Cheers.
Look at that guy, supping his pint, still giving us the non-league roundup. What a man.
One from the middle of the ocean, no, was it, Lou? No, you see.
Indeed.
He's a top professional, he's our Lou.
He is. And he'll be back on the show next Monday. It is the Ballon d'Or. I've just had a quick look at that. I didn't even realise that it's the Ballon d'Or tonight.
That's what I was looking at, Brownie.
Yeah. I don't know how far into it. I think I saw Harry Kane had got 13th place or something. I'm like, how long's this thing going to go on for?
13th?
Yeah, 13th.
What?
So I'm trying to find like a definitive list, but there's just there's nothing.
When was it drawn? Like earlier today, or is it live now?
It's live now, yeah. But apparently it's live now.
Who's in? Don't the rank? I do you know what? I've never watched the Ballon d'Or. So how do they do it? Is it ranked or what's?
I don't know. I don't get how it's done. But hasn't Vinicius Junior's thrown another strop, hasn't he? I've seen that he's not gone or something. He's refused to travel there or something. I don't know if that's happening again or not. But
McTominay's in it, isn't he? The fake Scottish guy.
I'd love it if McTominay won it. I'm not going to lie. That would be fantastic.
Was an ex-Man United player?
Yeah, to rub salt in the wound that they sold him. And then he goes and wins league.
True. I thought you'd be up for your boy Rafinha winning it. You know.
Sorry, yeah. Of course, Rafinha.
You know, the god that is Rafinha. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a joke. I mean, I think this competition it's not even a competition, is it? Does it mean out? Guys, do you look at it? Does it mean out for you?
No, not really. It's something to do with a French football magazine. Isn't that how it started out? Or am I completely wrong there?
No, you are
honestly, very similar to you guys. I see who's won it, but I don't really understand how it works.
Yeah, you are correct. It was it was created by French magazine. Do
you know the first winner of the Ballon d'Or is? I've just brought this up now.
Go on.
Oh, hang on. And it's some random.
I'm surprised. I am surprised. I didn't know this at all. I'm a bit surprised. It was our very own Stanley Matthews.
Is it really?
Yeah, and guess who he was playing for at the time?
Blackpool.
Yeah.
And there've only been 3 English guys that's won it.
Egan won it twice, didn't he?
Egan won it twice. Owen, Michael, or Bobby Charlton. Bobby Charlton. Yeah, Dennis Law won it as well. Dennis Law won it as well.
Yeah, town legend there. So town players at least won it. I mean, he didn't win it while he was at Town. Like neither did Ray Wilson win the World Cup while he was at Town. But there we are.
Yeah, and that's the only thing, because when you get to like 2000s, it's like Messi won it 8 times and Ronaldo won it 8 times or something. So it gets a bit boring then. Do you know what I mean?
I think we should only win it once. For me,
Stanley Matthews. There we go.
Can you imagine if you only won it once? How many random players you would have had in the 2000s to pick from?
Yeah.
It'd be a right quiz question, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Alfredo Di Stefano came second to Stanley Matthews. Incredible.
Here's a question for you, Brownie. You've run the podcast with Chris the longest, right? Who would win the Ballon d'Or of the West Yorkshire Football Show pundits?
Oh, that's tasty. That's tasty.
That is a tasty little vote, that, isn't it? I think we should put it out on a poll.
Yeah. I might be biased though, because I do a show twice a week with Jay, so obviously I'm going to be biased. No, I'll be leaning towards Jay.
You have to set biased out of it. I couldn't vote for myself. I would automatically vote for Gaz because he's my big brother.
Gaz, of course.
I know that Gaz probably won't vote for me, but
I could not disclose that information.
Gaz would sit on the fence, not want to offend anybody, and Dave won't care. Dave doesn't even know what the Ballon d'Or is, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff, right? Well, we'll leave it there. I want to thank everybody who's been on. Gareth Walker, Stephen Downs, Chris Bell as well. Guys, if you've watched along live, thank you very much for your comments. Please make sure you're liking the video as well. And if you're enjoying the show, please do share it with friends and other fans of the teams. We'd really appreciate that as well. And get your comments in as well. What would you like on the show as well? What do you want to see? What do you enjoy? What can we improve? We're open to all feedback, so do let us know. Check us out on all our socials as well. We've got the Facebook page, the X account. We're also on TikTok as well. We've got loads of different content flying about, so please follow us across our channels as well. But from the boys and myself, thank you very much, and we will be back again very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye. Wrong tune, wrong outro tune again. Bloody hell, I'll try again. Sorry, boys.